Oh wow, you have to consent to streaming.
Yep.
That is really smart.
I have consented.
There we go. We are live. All right, so people are going to file in for a little bit, but we're live. Mike, I think this is your first live podcast on YouTube with us, right?
Yeah, it is.
This is super exciting. So what's really cool is that there's going to be a chat. Like we already have 3 people commenting, so we can get people submitting questions. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so I'm really excited. So I guess we can get the party started. Joey and Michael, welcome. Thank you so much for proposing this idea. I'm really excited to talk about this. I think everyone's been really excited to talk about C-TOX and the caffeine experiment with you guys. So welcome back to the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So if anyone's wondering, Mike is in a ski lodge. Mike is actually in Alaska right now. I think it's just a really cool detail. So a lot of people are really excited for the topics at hand today. So I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think it's more valuable to start off with the caffeine experiment and kind of lead into why we're doing the C-TOX, or should we give the people what they're looking for with just straight up giving them the caffeine, the C-TOX lowdown?
We should maybe lead off with like some of the background on that. You guys probably have a bunch of really good questions. And then, it kind of dovetails into the point. So I don't know if Joey, if you want to kind of take the reins on that and explain the experiment that we did, some of the results that we got. I know the PricePlow guys have kind of had the chance to look at some of that too.
So first, a little background. You came up with this, Michael. This is your idea. This is your baby. When I saw this, I was like, what? First of all, I was like, you really want to create a product where you can try to detox from caffeine. I was like, there's a handful of things that can work with that. Most of them don't have good absorption.
We have a couple good products that started off with this kind of reaction.
Yeah. Where it was like, what are you talking about? This, I at first, I wasn't aware, and I was like, no one's going to be interested in this. And turns out people are. Because we've got a huge caffeine problem going on right now, because these pre-workouts, they just keep ratcheting up that caffeine dose, and people are getting tolerant. They're needing more and more. Obviously, that's why the market's demanding these higher and higher dosages. So I took a look at Michael's original concept, and I was like, let me do a deep dive into this and see what I can find. And there's surprisingly a lot of research when it comes to caffeine addiction, dependence, withdrawal, and everything that people go through. The top 3 things that are there are headaches, lethargy, and sleep disturbances. So it's really like the main 3 things you have to deal with when you're detoxing from caffeine. Aside from Ben, has anyone detoxed from caffeine before?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while, to be honest. So I'm 5 years in since basically since my wife got pregnant with our daughter. I have not stopped since.
Well, it's not fun.
Right.
Like when I remember recently, whenever I stopped caffeine was within the last 5 years, and the headaches just come on like a freight train, and they just hit you, and there's hardly enough Tylenol or ibuprofen in the world that's going to stop that. And then like your brain will tingle because it's trying to figure out what's going on and try to reset itself. And the obviously you're not having your mood boosted every day in the morning by caffeine, so you're a little less than pleasant to be around whenever that does happen. All that considered, going into this formula, we were like, okay, well, we've got quite a few things to deal with. And there were other studies that showed that if you just consumed a little bit of caffeine, not as much as your usual daily amount, but just a little bit of caffeine on a daily basis, that it can hopefully try to keep some of those side effects of like headache and lethargy and all that away. So the other part of this is when I was going through the literature, there's a lot of studies that are basically doing like double-blind placebo-controlled studies with coffee and decaf coffee, trying to see if people could recognize the difference. And shockingly enough, a lot of those people who were reaching for the decaf coffee and still drinking like 5 or 6 cups a day reported no side effects at all. And they were just like, oh, this is great. I've still got my coffee. Life is good. I'm in the control group here. And that's what they thought going through it. So that kind of segues us into the caffeine experiment. And for those of you who weren't there or weren't participating, that I sent out 5 white capsules with white contents that were in tiny little bags, and on the little bags had random ass alchemical symbols that were symbols for different planets. I didn't want to put numbers, I didn't want to put colors, I didn't want to put anything on this packaging that might skew someone's preference toward one or another. So I chose those weird symbols. And also the thing about it was there was no particular order. You didn't have to go this one, this one, this one, this one, then this one. It was just take whatever you will and let us know which one you took, and then we'll look at the data that way. And no surprise, of course there was a placebo in there. There was a random placebo that they could have taken it day 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Like any of those days. I kind of had it planned for Wednesday. I wanted to slap them in the face with a lot of nothing on like a Wednesday, and then they'd be like, oh God, this is terrible. And maybe, just maybe, they would know. Not that many of them did though. I'll actually pull up the data so I can actually talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, can you, I have the same spreadsheet open right now. Can you share your screen, or can someone share their screen?
Joey should be able to share his screen. I have it set so that all
Last time I
participants
tried,
can.
I failed, so.
Let's see if I can do this here. Screen share. This one.
I love how the incorrect and correct like balance out along the week.
Well, it's strange because like you would think that eventually these would all resonate into the direction that we're talking about. So what we're looking at here, if I can zoom in for the people at home, where's my view? Just bring it in a little bit more. So here they were across the different days. The task was for all of our subjects in this experiment that you were supposed to discern whether or not this was natural or synthetic caffeine. And we started to look into if there was a little bit of bias toward it, if people were biased toward anhydrous or if they were biased toward the natural caffeine. So across any given day, you can look at what happened here. On day 1, there was only 41, roughly 42% that were correct, but 58% of them were incorrect. They were guessing completely wrong. Our hypothesis against every single one is 50%. That they would, guess at random, and it's like a coin flip. You're gonna get heads or tails. It's gonna be natural or synthetic. Now, day 2, we've got it harmonizing a little bit more in line with our hypothesis here. So, that was a little bit, expected. We were thinking 50%. Day 3, it swings in the complete other direction. So, and we have this in a chart too. But day 3, suddenly people are guessing it right. Doesn't have to be specific to the symbol or anything. Day 4, once again, 50-50. Day 5, once again, 50-50. So we've got this in our chart. The yellow line here being that was our hypothesis. Day 1, way more incorrect than they were correct. Day 2, right in line with our hypothesis. Day 3, more people were correct, and then there were incorrect. Hypothesis still being in the middle. Day 4, they're resonating into place with the hypothesis. Day 5, they're still in line with the hypothesis. And this was less than 1% deviation on this. So, it was pretty reliable. But we've also got it broken down here by the symbols. So we were trying to see, was there any impact on the symbols? Now, when it came to the Saturn symbol for anhydrous, we had more people guessing incorrectly, assuming that this was natural caffeine. And the same thing happened with Jupiter here. A lot of people thought it was natural caffeine. But what's also interesting, when it actually was natural caffeine with the Earth and the Uranus signs here, that more people were correct. But it looks like, the desire of everyone who was in the experiment had somewhat of a bias toward natural caffeine. They wanted it to be natural caffeine the whole time. But on one side, when it was anhydrous, they were incorrect. It was fake, or not fake, but synthetically made. And then when it was natural, they were like, oh yeah, this is definitely natural. And they were able to tell. Now, whether or not they were biased toward, synthetic or not, they were still guessing natural caffeine. Now, here's what's interesting is the placebo. Wasn't any caffeine. And once again, we've got this bias toward natural, where 60% of the people thought it was natural. I don't know if that was because they thought it was good and clean, maybe thinking that that could have been an explanation. And then, you've got roughly 40% saying that it's synthetic. So what all does this mean? But we've got even more interesting breakdowns. We've got the individual, packets by day through here on the bottom. We got the individual days with the logs. But where it gets really interesting is the placebo logs. So we have a tallied column here. It's called Who Didn't Fall For It, where they were guessing like, this has got to be a placebo or it's junk. 27 out of 98 people. Only 30% of everyone was able to say, this is weird. This is a placebo.
Yeah.
I got duped on this one. So roughly, you're talking 33% of your entire sample size are the only ones who are
Could
able
not tell.
to.
33% could not like that.
No,
There's a lot.
66% could not.
Yeah.
So Joe,
There's a lot
Joey,
to pack here.
on row 97 here, the person wrote still a bit tired on this one. Shouldn't that kind of go for a who didn't fall for it? Had to get an energy
Either
drink to
way,
finish.
I mean, one more vote into here is as long as it's getting closer to 30. I mean, we're still over
Right.
30.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I just, that was one comment I could read. I was like thinking, oh wait, they seem to have kind of figured it out. Can you give me an example of someone who didn't fall for it? I want to see like what they
Guy
wrote.
right below hit very quickly on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Lots of energy and focus. Got a lot done. It worked because of it. Makes me a little sick to my stomach.
That's hilarious. Can
It's-
you go
it's
up and give
shocking
us
that
a,
like 750 milligrams of maltodextrin could elicit such a response.
well, get that carb. Can you go up and give us an example of who didn't follow for it? Like, did anyone like, I want to see one where they called like total bullshit. That's gonna
Didn't feel much. I might have a caffeine problem.
If these are real, LOL.
There's like a
I
lot of
love it.
like really granular ways you could unpack this, you know,
Yeah.
and get like into the weeds. Like, is that someone that like guessed wrong every single time? There's like some placebo psychology that's like going on here and definitely influencing all this. But
when they're like,
yeah,
it came on slow, I didn't have any jitters. It's like, these are your red flags right here, folks. You got to pick up on this.
This is,
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah, didn't feel anything when I
Yeah.
took the capsule. I thought that there would be something, but today felt similar to yesterday, where I think I need a higher dose of caffeine to notice anything. It may just be taking longer to release than the feeling I got from pre-workout. Overall experience wasn't bad, but I felt more of a noticeable alertness when I drank coffee. Didn't feel much energy-wise. Some weird chest pain, but an hour later, and then a bad headache. Felt a crash today, pretty bad, a few hours later. Starting to feel the side effects of not having any caffeine. I want to find a good one. Probably my favorite of the bunch so far. Definitely felt this one, but it came on gradually. This would be good for a long, heavy gym session. Calm down was as smooth as the onset. Love
no kidding.
it. So, I'll stop my screen share, but that's the idea. It's really interesting because I don't know if I should publish this. I mean, everything's anonymized. Nobody's name's attached to any of this stuff. So, we might be able to post this up somewhere where you can actually go through and look through the logs and be like, just cheesing it at how funny it might be where you see some of these reports.
It's pretty funny because some of the commenters are finding their own comments, or they're like people chatting are seeing their own things. It's great. Specifically in the placebo part. So this is really fun.
So yeah, obviously it would be kind of fun if we could like go through all of them and be like, oh, here's this one and this one and this one and this one. People are like, oh shit, that's me.
Yeah, we can maybe put it up like that on a board in one of the discords or something, and like have people fill in more detail. But I remember like the night that we were putting together at like Joe 30 because we were just like reorganizing all the data. And then like by the time we got to the end, I think I was texting you, Ben, and I was like, dude, like forget about the caffeine and or synthetic and natural like argument. Like this is crazy. Like the placebo effect and that the fact that people can't tell the difference between like 300 milligrams of caffeine and 0 is kind of startling. Like that's a lot. I mean,
Seriously, yeah.
5 years ago, 10 years ago, 300 milligrams of caffeine in a canned energy drink would have been like, you would have been laughed out of the room. Nobody would care. No, you know what I mean? Like nobody would insure that. Nobody wanted to sell something like that. That's crazy. I mean, I grew up in the days when like Jolt, like energy drink was like hard to find and like banned because it had like I don't know, maybe 100 milligrams of caffeine, probably less, like probably like 80, you know, and they like trying to keep kids away from it. This is dangerous. Now we're like consuming 300 milligrams in a can multiple times a day.
Yeah, if you
so yeah, I think
I remember Jolt too, and if you recall, I mean, the original Red Bulls that caused such a stir were just 80 megs. So obviously, like they kind of were the first to hit the party scene with that too, but still, it was people using it as energy drinks, and it was not even remotely as caffeinated as what we have here. It's I don't know. There's a lot of ways to parse this, and I like my theories have been, and I don't know if this is the topic of this conversation, but like we've become so metabolically broken that we're using caffeine to kind of mask our blood sugar roller coaster. That's kind of the best theory I have, that things have gotten that much worse, but I don't know. I don't know if that covers for enough of like the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that like the caffeine intake is probably chasing all kinds of habits that are perpetuating the feeling that you need more energy or motivation or whatever. The biggest problem with caffeine itself is like the diminishing returns that you get. You know, I mean, if you can't tell the difference between 0 milligrams and 300, then what is 300 even doing for you? You know, and so it's very compelling data for the argument that maybe you should cycle your caffeine intake.
Yeah, we get to the point.
Maybe
I'll get. Yeah, I this is me. Sometimes I'm using it to avoid side effects, which is literally the definition of addiction, and I'm avoiding withdrawals.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, for me personally, it's like, okay, the concession that I'm making without having like coffee in the morning is this overwhelming fear that I'm not going to be as productive as I need to be. I'm not going to like answer the responsibilities that I've got on my plate because I'm weakened and I'm not going to be as motivated and I'm not going to be on point. And like that fear carries over into every single day, year over year. And then you're like, it's been a half a decade and I've consumed caffeine excessively every day.
Mm-hmm. The one comment I have, and so I was cutting caffeine over like a month. It was December a lot of times over Christmas breaks and stuff. And the one comment I had going back in was that life is just not as much fun without caffeine for me. I do like it. And even when I get over it, it's just, I don't know. I don't have as much of an enjoyable time doing my work and doing stuff when I'm not caffeinated, even once I've gotten past all the withdrawals and everything. And so during those months, I was actually using rhodiola. That was how I was first introduced to rhodiola, maybe in like 2006 or so. And that was my way of getting over it, but it wasn't as much fun. So I'm on it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think that we're here to say that like caffeine's bad. Like we're kind of saying that caffeine's good. But maybe we should rethink the way that we use caffeine year over year, you know.
I found
there's lots of Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I found some parallels in dieting and training. There's been a lot of movement in periodization of how we eat and how we train, and I thought maybe I found some parallels with caffeine there. That I love caffeine. I'll be the first person to tell you I think it's an incredible performance enhancer. It definitely enhances my life, but maybe periodizing the weeks that you use it and being more conscious of how you use it and when you use it, because it becomes a habit very quickly for no reason other than just the experience.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that like our hope is that like sort of providing, we can get more into the nuts and bolts of C-TOX soon, but sort of providing just a template, you know, and unfortunately, and I'll eat my words on this, but a lot of the data that Joey combed through in caffeine detox protocols suggest that just having something has a strong enough placebo effect to ameliorate like serious side effects from withdrawal of caffeine. And like people drinking decaf coffee and not experiencing or reporting headaches or you know, anhedonia and all the stuff that comes along with like cessation from caffeine. So you know, in the least, we're providing that, right? Joey and I'll be the first to say that what we're putting in the product should help you do this, but you know, like just putting it out there, like for people where they maybe it challenges them to rethink about like how and why they use caffeine ritually every single day. Are you getting the same kind of benefits? Are you experiencing like the opposite? Like, are you consuming caffeine and it's actually just causing you problems, you know? And I know that happens to me because I'm trying to remotivate myself midday. Half the time it doesn't really work the way that I want it to, you know? And then you've got like, you're like sweaty or you're nervous, you're not really thinking clearly. You get kind of this like, I get this like kind of foggy, like I've consumed too much caffeine today. My blood pressure's off. My hands are cold for no reason. You know, just stuff like that. And that's definitely diminishing returns.
Yeah, for me, the afternoon energy is one that I'm like careful with, and I'm the most picky with, because like, so morning coffee and then a pre-workout somewhere between 250 to 300 is usually my number. So I've hit about 350 at that point. And then if I need more in the afternoon, I can put myself over. I've noticed like if I take something with like too many like synthetic B vitamins, I don't know, I kind of feel gross at sometimes. And if I take too much, I'm going to be up late, and it's, you know, and sometimes I'm like still tired, but caffeinated tired, and like I don't like that either. So like the afternoon energy is the one that gets me sometimes. And so I play it more conservatively with those. But so like, are you willing to explain a little bit more about C-TOX to those who haven't heard or watched any of the videos or anything? Is there
I think we should break it all down.
Joey, so I guess my question would be, sorry for interrupting, but my question would be like to Joey, like at this point before C-TOX, if someone says, okay, I want to detox like tomorrow, is there a general strategy outside of providing yourself some sort of decaf, some sort of quote unquote placebo? Is there another strategy, like maybe L-tyrosine or something like that?
Well, we do have L-tyrosine and a couple other things that can help pad the blow that are included in C-TOX. Have we done a formula reveal?
I don't think you have.
I think we can.
I
would say that
this is live, so there's no takebacks here.
yeah, go for it. I think that let's do that. But I think all the additives and stuff like that aside, the main way to detox from caffeine comfortably is to like steadily lower your dose. And like this is done in medicine with all sorts of like with all sorts of things that you build a tolerance up to. Like the protocol is to like sort of eliminate the dosage day after day and like get down to zero. That's the easiest way to detox from caffeine and not have significant side effects. Like going completely cold turkey is obviously gonna, you know, you're gonna get to zero faster, but it's gonna probably be painful or uncomfortable. And I think it's really hard to manage the process of like cutting your caffeine dose. You know, there's probably a lot of people who, including myself, have ambitions to do that, and then it gets disrupted at some point. You know, 2 days in, you're like, okay, I normally have this much coffee in the morning, so I'm going to cut that in half. And then, you know, you got a really busy day, and there's an energy drink on the table 2 hours later, and you know, you really are chasing the benefits that you think you're going to get from that. You know, that probably happens to me at least a dozen times a year.
Could I this is like slightly tangential, but I think it's kind of important. The overarching takeaway from the experiment is not only what we've already talked about, but also for me it was really that whatever you tell the consumer in terms of pre-workout supplementation like has a really big deal on what they're going to perceive from the pre-workout. And we've had this has been kind of an ongoing discussion between PricePlow and Glaxon, but the race to the top in terms of serving sizes and amounts of products and stuff like that. This is kind of extrapolating even further out, but when I saw this data, it kind of showed me like with a lot of consumers, if you tell them this is like a big formula, it's going to give you a lot, they're most likely going to perceive it as such.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so a lot of like what Glaxon has been doing has been like simplifying this. Like you don't need 35 grams of your pre-workout. As far as I know, you guys aren't doing the kitchen sink approach yet.
Yeah, I mean,
The kitchen sink
yeah,
amongst many products.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to kind of stack to get that, and I think the kitchen sink approach, like from a overall brand perspective, like from us, is that it's not modular enough to be useful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're trying to cater to a lot of different lifestyles, maybe people who have lifestyles that change, like, you know, I mean, you don't work out the same and eat the same every month over month, you know, so like you may look to things that you want in your pre-workout or that you bolt onto it, those probably change. And so we're trying to take a modular approach to that and like challenge the customer to like kind of learn that like you can do that and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I think there's an apprehension with a general customer. They're like, this is too much stuff. Well, you don't have to use it all at the same time, but if you want to, here's like a bunch of different ways that you can. Mm-hmm. You know, not to get too far out on that, but getting back to the pre-workout and the stimulant products, like there's not a lot of room for us to innovate that unless we can get into the perspective that people have towards the product. And then there's an opportunity to innovate. You know, we're done at the moment, like just trying to throw all kinds of stuff into a pre-workout or stimulant product and then like tell everyone that ours is the strongest and we've got this, you know, extract from some crazy thing that no one else has and it's going to feel like meth. And like that's not, there's a bigger picture to the basket of goods that we're trying to offer. And like C-TOX is definitely part of that like perspective change that like we hope we can have, you know, in position for people. Because if you start to look at caffeine as something that you can routinely cycle, you're going to get crazy benefits from a 400 milligram pre-workout. You know what I mean? Like, but if you're going to consume 500 to 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day, year over year, like, what are we gonna, you know, where are we going?
Yeah.
You know, I expect that I'll find personally, I haven't like, I'm gonna probably run the C-TOX out like before we launch it, like in the next month. But I expect that what I'll find is that I had a lot of diminishing returns from caffeine going on that I wasn't aware of. You know, I 100% agree. 300 milligrams of caffeine before training, like is a massive performance enhancer. Like massive. But if that's after you've already consumed 600 through the day, like, and you've been doing that day after day, like, is that, I mean, the studies that are suggesting that it's a performance enhancer, do they take that into account? You know,
that's a fair question.
Anyway,
I should note like the safety data. We've had some people talking about dosages in the chat a little bit. Like the safety data does show like you can go quite high, but your question about whether or not that all adds together for that performance benefit or if that detracts from the performance, because those performance benefits weren't done at super high dosages always. There is
no, and I don't know what the baseline, you know, I don't know what, like how much blood circulating caffeine these people had. I can just tell you anecdotally, and I think that there's a bunch of people that would agree. Once I get into a certain daily territory for caffeine, I don't feel good anymore.
Right.
You know, it's a very awkward and like gross kind of feeling. I feel jammed up. Like I don't feel clean and motivated and productive. And nothing feels like caffeine does in the morning. You know, like
Mhm.
it just there's nothing. You know, I can't get that until I wake up the following day. So if I can prolong that by just cycling my caffeine intake and then kind of working a pyramid with it, like that seems really lucrative to me.
Maybe this is weird for me, but also the more caffeine I drink in terms of pre-workout and energy drinks and stuff like that, the less water I drink. Which
Yeah,
always
technically
has
you
to
are.
drink it. What'd you say?
Technically, you are drinking water.
Yes, yeah, technically. But if I don't know. I really don't feel that like the water I get from a carbonated energy drink is worth the same amount that I'm getting from just drinking water, or some Astronaut
Right.
for that matter.
Yeah, I've seen some of the studies talking about coffee and like maybe it being dehydrating at first, but then you get used to it. Like me personally, if I drink coffee and I don't drink water, I'm going to be some level of a mess later on with some really dark urine and just like if I ignore that for 2 hours or so, it's almost it's harder to catch up. So I don't know if I agree with some of the research for me personally there.
So we've got all the data and we've kind of got a little bit of a takeaway. Can we talk about how C-TOX offers a solution to that? Maybe do a little reveal on the formula.
Let's do a giveaway
Yeah.
first.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, we forgot the giveaway.
And then we can tell them what they've won because we're giving away a 2-pack, not just one, but 2 in case you fuck up the first one. C-TOX Price Pack.
Yeah, maybe let's have everyone comment C-TOX in chat, and I'll go pick someone from there, or Joey can pick someone from there.
Well, let's make them do a simple math problem.
Whatever you want, Joey.
All right, let's have them do 465 divided by 6. Okay.
465.
Whoever has a calculator and can do this fast enough will win a C-TOX 2-pack.
Yeah, they're not going to hear this. It's on a little bit of a time delay, so.
This is funny. They already started typing C-TOX for me.
Okay.
We gotta have a winner.
There's
Someone
going to be
do
the
that
first
math.
person that does it is going to. Oh man.
We're on
Who's
delay.
got the
There we go.
best
9.
internet connection?
9. There you
Rampage.
go.
I was gonna tell Rampage. They made me laugh earlier too, talking about Specimen Max being the C-TOX killer. Is
Someone
9 the
put
wrong answer
69.
though? Oh, I
That's
don't even know
right.
if that's the wrong
Oh,
answer.
whoa. We got some. Who is it? Who's number 1? Who's Will Brandon?
He's in the community.
Will Brandon is our winner for the C-TOX 2-pack.
Oh, Rampage, breaking my heart.
Look at all these people who busted out a calculator so fast. All right. Will, you have one. But what does he want,
Man.
everybody? You will be getting 2 packets
I'm gonna-
of C-TOX. This is our 7-day detoxification protocol. Now, in the studies, they had 7-day, they had 10-day, they also had 30-day protocols, depending on how long you want to spend in hell. But we decided that 7 days was plenty and that it was feasible. So what you'll get inside is, these are blister packs, our first blister pack job. So inside you will get, and I did this on Instagram the other day, a dosing protocol, visual at that. I don't know how it's gonna, is this, yeah, this is proper. Okay, because sometimes the camera will flip it. There are
You
red
have it
pills.
mirrored.
Oh, it is mirrored? All right, well, there's
Yeah,
red pills.
it's
there's-
good. No, it looks good.
Okay, and you'll start off by taking 6 red pills. It's going to be 6 pills every day, no matter what. It's just the combination of colors is what's going to change. This can be confusing. We know this going into it. That's why we provided this little handy dandy Glaxon dosing guide for you. Now, what you'll do, we've over here, we've designed this for people assuming the average rate of caffeine intake is 300 milligrams at a time. So if you're trying to detox from caffeine, this will bring you down from 300 milligrams by 50 milligrams every single day. So here you got 300, 250, 200, 150, 100, 50, and then 0. And in case this is not helpful enough, on the actual blister packs you'll be getting with red and blue pills, they're broken up. And they're broken up in a way that tells you when you're supposed to take them. Oh, there it goes. So you have some day 1s, you got some day 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, and 7s that are right there, easy for you to see, easy for you to keep up with what day you're on, because the ones from the previous day are already going to be gone.
This
So
doesn't
that's-
look as complicated as it was to put there.
To figure out like how we would put like 6 caps a day and where you're changing your dose of 2 different supplement facts like every day. And you're going to notice when you do, if you purchase C-TOX or get it for free as a promo or what have you, or if you're like Will, you want it here on the PricePlow podcast, you're going to see that there's actually two different supplement facts panels on here. One shows you the minimum amount that you would consume in a single capsule and the maximum amount that you would consume in 6 capsules, just so you know what you're getting here. So what are we getting here? Getting a lovely blend, once again, of B vitamins, because we are all about that stuff over here. You get B1, you get niacin, you get P5P for that dopamine conversion, and then you've got choline bitartrate, because why not? Next, on the actual functional stuff, cordyceps, because it has something called cordycepin A. Cordycepin A can actually help with your adenosine receptors that have been antagonized by caffeine for so long. The idea with this is that we're trying to agonize the adenosine receptors so they're more happy and they don't compensate by putting more receptors up like they are when they're antagonized. So your body, when you consume caffeine, it will hit these adenosine receptors and it responds because of that negative effect on those receptors by putting up more receptors saying, this is an adenosine, we want adenosine, give us adenosine. And all that happens is you just hit it with more caffeine and more caffeine, going back in this negative feedback loop that actually makes you more likely to be tired. Because adenosine is famous for a couple of different things: lowering blood pressure, making you feel tired. It's used in polyadenylation whenever you're having some sort of a DNA transcript. And once that transcript gets read, there's all this adenosine that gets linked up together to show that this is going to be silenced afterward. But it's a nucleotide, like your A's, G's, C's, and T's. This is the A of adenosine. So a couple other things we have in here, and adenine, the precursor to adenosine, another nucleotide. So that is able to go in there, hopefully to become more adenine to agonize your adenosine receptors and bring it down. We've got tyrosine. Obviously, in the red pill, we've got caffeine because we're bringing you down every day. That's not in the blue pill. There's no caffeine in the blue pills at all. We've got T-crein in here. And we've got T-crein in here because it actually doesn't antagonize the receptors in the same way that the caffeine does. And in fact, it actually can help, increase your sensitivity because it's not stimulatory and it doesn't do the same kind of stuff to the caffeine receptor. So we thought, doing a sensible dose of T-crein along the way would help this process as well. You won't feel as bad as if you just completely, ceased from consuming caffeine at all. Then we've got white willow bark. That's in there for salicin. Salicin is where aspirin came from. Acetyl salicylic acid is something that came from salicin, from Salix alba or white willow. And we've got some of that in there that you will get over time. Got some L-theanine to chill you out in case you get irritable. Don't want to have any of that. And then we've got Cape aloe. So if you're one of those people that your morning coffee helps you take a shit in the morning, this is something that will help you, increase your gastric motility and help you take, solid stools whenever you end up taking this product. So, we've tried to address the majority of those things: the brain fog, the lethargy, the adenosine receptor antagonism, and the bowel movements too. So that is what you're getting in here. 7-day protocol. Will's going to be getting 2 because in case he screws up the first one, he can have a do-over. So,
and we're going to ship those out before it launches.
These? Yeah.
Yes.
So congratulations, Will. You won.
Nice. Okay, so I have a question. That you were just talking about the blue pill that has what the it's not a laxative, but is
increases gastric motility. Yes.
Increases gastric motility. So you're going to get more and more of that every day, right?
No. So the way that this is, the red pill and the blue pill, they're identical. The only thing is different.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The only thing that's different is there's no caffeine in the blue pill.
I wasn't okay.
We spent a long time mapping this out
every day.
I was worried about people getting increasing doses of a laxative ingredient.
No, you should have.
It's evened out. I got
should have fixed. Yeah, you should.
Trust me, this was a doozy to come up with in the supplement facts and the dosing protocol and everything.
Right. Yeah, like the compliance.
I was like talking to Ben about how complicated this was to make into a supplement because the servings change every day. I think I was talking to Ben about this. It's like almost 2 years. That was complicated because we didn't want 7 subpacks panels on it. This has to be low hanging. Can you guys hear me?
You're
Yeah.
so cold up there in
Yeah.
Alaska, you're getting frozen from time to time.
Oh, good.
That was a good pun. So I have a question. You brought up teacrine, and I asked Mike on the side about this, and I want to double check. I'm pretty sure. Doesn't adenosine get blocked by teacrine as well?
Well, it's the effect that it ends up having. It can do the same thing as far as like hitting that receptor and preventing adenosine from binding, sure, but it doesn't have the same kind of an antagonistic relationship as caffeine has. So it's either neutral or agonist in that kind of sense. And if you've actually taken like a huge dose of teacrine, it can
Make you tired.
Yeah, make you tired.
Yeah, it also helps you form neurotransmitters, if I remember correctly, too, which kind of could help out probably during the time of not taking caffeine.
Right. I mean, as far as like triggering that neurotransmitter release, backed up with like the tyrosine and the B6 that we've got in there. I mean, we're trying to support that as much as we can, that in lieu of having that dump of neurotransmitters from the caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. So, how many people have you had do this? If people are watching at home, I have a whole video really showing every day of my experiment with this, doing this for 7 days. But what has been everyone's experience? How have you guys felt pre and post using it? Yeah, I want to know what Joey says. I want to know what Michael says.
I have not.
I
used
have not been brave enough to do this yet. But now that we've got like the finished package, I'll probably start like probably on a Sunday and just let that black night start chopping my head off.
Yeah, I think from my tinkering around with this concept, everything that's in here has been used in dosages that are like all over the map to support the reasons that we put them in the product. You know, so I expect that it, like the way that it worked for you is probably going to be like pretty much the average take on it. You know, we'll probably get some placebo effect and benefit is from it from just following a protocol as well.
I was super sure you guys were placeboing me.
No, we didn't.
We didn't get any placebos at all. I still
we sent you the real deal.
I mean, it wouldn't have made sense to placebo me during the middle of this because you want the gradual nature of it, right? I thought you guys sent me 30 placebos just to see if in 7 days if I'll just totally believe that I got better.
I think you'd gotten wrecked.
That would have been a good idea, that just for the info, but it would have. We don't have enough time to mess with you. We didn't have enough time to mess with you on this one.
Yeah, we actually needed to have this one.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that the theacrine will maybe throw some people off because it's like, I don't know. Our view on that's probably not the same as a lot of folks that think it's like a stimulant. I've taken with Joey like a gram of it in DR caps before, and the experience that I had from that was probably the opposite of what I would expect from caffeine.
Cool. So I think, Joey, if you want to run another giveaway, and I'd like to jump into kind of after the giveaway, like talk about reintroducing caffeine after one of these, like what people should expect in terms of that.
I like it.
You're muted, Joey.
I didn't hear that question because I was actually pulling up a study on the adenosine receptors and theacrine. But go ahead and repeat that one as far as what they would expect, like returning to caffeine.
Well, I want to do the giveaway first.
Okay, so there's a couple of protocols on this. So if you really want to make it work, you do your 7 days and you stick to it. There's no options outside of that.
Do the giveaway first. Do the next giveaway.
Second giveaway. All right, what are we giving away this time? This will be 1 bottle of Specimen Max Alien Pop. I had a lot of people complaining in the Discords and stuff about people who, you know, had gotten it in advance and stuff. So this is your chance right here. You want some Specimen Max? What are we gonna make them do this time?
Who are we giving it to? We got YouTube comments or the Discord or.
I'm doing YouTube just because everyone seems to be in there. We've got some really good concurrent viewers right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Another math problem?
You should ask them an ingredient question.
Okay. Caffeine, theocrine, dynamine, theobromine, the whole group. They all fall into a class of compounds and under a very general name that is not xanthines. What is this?
Wow.
Ooh, this is going to be good. It's Specimen Max, folks.
Yeah, it's got to be a hard one for Specimen Max.
Advanced Specimen Max.
Yeah, speaking of which,
I'll actually throw this in the chat here.
All right. The answers are starting to come up right now.
What?
Dylan put
What?
xanthines. Cambauer put stimulants.
Nope.
Is that what you were going for? I don't think
Nope.
that's what you're going for. No.
Nope.
I feel like you got to give it to the guy that said stimulants because it's.
Well, I think the argument is that teacrine isn't necessarily a stimulant.
I
That is the
actually
argument.
I don't believe it is because it doesn't increase heart rate or blood pressure.
I think I know. I think Far Beyond just got it. Alkaloid.
Ooh, he's close.
Okay.
Ooh,
That's
he's
that
close.
was
What
my
kind of
thinking.
alkaloid far beyond? Reel it in.
I have a study open. It just says a pure alkaloid right here. So I figured.
What kind of alkaloid? What kind of alkaloid?
The study I'm looking at
Oh,
just
that's
says
that. All right, it starts with a P. And it's not polyphenol, Jeff.
I'm gonna shut up then because I just said it.
Oh, you were close. You sure were close. So anyway, that study. that
I just linked to the study I've opened. So
I posted the wait. Boom, David Lamb.
David
there
Lamb.
we go. Oh, you
Let's
know,
go.
okay. Oh, the study I have is not even saying.
What
That's
study do you have
hilarious.
pulled up, Ben? What is this?
What's up?
Caffeine and endurance. Okay, that's combination. I'll go ahead and post the study that I have here talking about adenosine receptors and that it actually increases adenosine content in the brain. Booyah shaka.
That's funny though. Okay, so my the study I linked to in the chat says teacrine 139 blah 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 is a pure alkaloid. Did they mean to say purine there?
Probably.
I love finding mistakes in these studies, dude. That won't be the first time. So it was David Lamb though who won.
Yeah, David Lamb.
Let's go.
Congratulations, you've won a bottle of Specimen Max that nobody knows the formula of except for a few people who really like to post things on stories and make people jealous.
Mhm.
GNC knows too.
Ruins the fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So, post C-TOX protocol usage.
Okay, there's a fork in the road here when you've finished your C-TOX regimen. Now, you can repent for your sins and sin no more and walk away from caffeine and never come back to it, right? I mean, we've helped you out there. Or consider it a vacation. Maybe I'm just taking a vacation from caffeine. Maybe I'm going to intentionally bring my tolerance back down, or at least try to bring it back down. And then maybe I want to go back. Maybe I want to go back and, hello, darkness, my old friend. I haven't felt you in a while. And hopefully the idea is that when you will return to stimulants, that it might feel more like the first time. So once you've already gone through all this headache and gone through your what would possibly be your withdrawal, that once that's behind you, you can make a choice of not having to have any caffeine ever again, or at least not for a while, however long you want this caffeine vacation to be, or you go right back into stimulants. This was actually a popular concept back in the day where people would try to take like high doses of Benadryl for a couple of days to try to reset their adrenal receptors. And then once again, they would return to stimulants and see if it would, pop a little bit harder. Now, I wouldn't recommend that because doing a high dose of that it leaves you with a super groggy hangover and it's not so fun. But in this case, you're having a 7-day, timeout. So this 7-day timeout alone will help your body become more sensitive to caffeine. I wouldn't recommend running it for the 7 days and then boom, right back into a 400 milligram pre-workout. I'm sure it'll feel great, but I would give it a couple more days. I mean, if you've already successfully, detoxed from caffeine, then see how long you can go without it. A lot of times, like I really am enjoying the non-stim pre-workouts and pump stuff, and like I do what I call the thermal surge with plasma surge and thermal a lot, where it's very functional. It just doesn't have a lot of caffeine or any caffeine at all in it. So that's better for me, especially because I work out in the evenings, and it's just I don't want to consume another 300 milligrams at like 6 or 7 p.m.
I I like
Yeah,
the
Ben,
sorry.
can you tell us like what it was like when you finished it? Like, what did you go for?
So
How did that feel?
this was a bit of a loaded question because you guys you sent me one box, and in the box was both C-TOX and the first iteration of Specimen Max. So I didn't really have a choice. Like I had to go back after it. So it was very strong. It was very strong. I enjoyed it a lot. At this point, Specimen Max. Actually, I have not looked at the formula yet because I just opened the box. But at that point, it had that special ginseng that we had been talking about, and it seemed like everything. Some people are joking in the chat right now about that Foreigner song. It feels like the first time. Like that's exactly what it felt like. It was fun. It was like I was nostalgic about 7 days earlier. It was good. It was good, and I felt. But I will say, I think this was one thing I reported for you guys was like my tolerance went super down, but it came back faster than I expected to.
And it certainly will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's the trouble with how caffeine tolerance works.
Yeah. It's not so much the caffeine itself that's really causing you the issues. It's the downstream metabolites, because caffeine turns into theobromine, turns into paraxanthine, and paraxanthine will hang out in the body comparatively to caffeine and theobromine. I mean, it's got a significantly longer half-life than the other two. It's not as intense in its stimulant activity, but having like this floating around adenosine antagonist inside your blood that's not in a rush to get out of the system, that's what really causes the majority of the problem. So being able to clear through that is going to be based on your metabolism and your own individual metabolic rate, and how, if you're a fast caffeine metabolizer or a slow caffeine metabolizer, and to see how that goes. But it's complex. There's multiple downstream metabolites that can create this like kind of compounding wave. And in some cases, like when you have your like second energy drink of the day, you start yawning and everything. It's because of the extra paraxanthine hanging around.
It's so funny, dude. I'm drinking an energy can at 7:30 or 8:30 at night now, and it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I go to sleep right now. It's totally fine. So I'm ready for this box. I don't know when I'm gonna do this, because I don't think anyone wants to do this, but it has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the prospect of being able to have like a clean slate experience with like some of your favorite stimulant products seems pretty compelling to me. I mean, like I'd like to know what Specimen Max feels like from a baseline.
Yeah.
I think the main takeaway is just that the perspective change towards how you want to treat caffeine in your lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you get right back into it and start blowing it out again, the way that caffeine and its metabolites hang out in your blood, like you're gonna get tolerant quick, because it stays there for so long that your body's like adapting to that constant stimulation. But maybe you can kind of come back to it with like a little bit more of a cautious approach.
One thing I want to point out, so the three metabolites, as far as I know, of caffeine are you have paraxanthine, theobromine, and theophylline, or theophylline. And so we've been digging into paraxanthine. We're going to be covering that in a little bit. I think theophylline's the longest half-life, and from my research, that's the one. I don't think we're allowed to use that in supplements either. I think it's kind of
That's why I didn't talk about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, that one, I think that's the one that wrecks the slow metabolizers. But we'll talk about that more on the channel later. But
I'd leave on it.
Gotcha. I knew you were missing one. I didn't know if there was a reason why.
We had one question in the chat, which I thought was kind of it was relevant to Glaxon, is why are we less tolerant to Yoyo blends? is that something that people don't build a tolerance to as easily? Like, 'cause I would definitely agree. Like, even though the caffeine goes away, I've been using GFY and Yoyo for a long time without any noticeable reduction in the effects.
I would probably say that it is. I would attribute a lot of that to the yohimbine because for two reasons. One, the dose is really low,
Mhm.
so you're not really blowing yourself out with a whole bunch of yohimbine. It doesn't take much to have a noticeable effect. That alone, it's supporting the effects of caffeine and pushing that fight or flight response. I think is something that you're probably not going to see as much. The caffeine, sure, that might go away. You might not have that bright onset that you usually have, but 20 minutes into your workout, when that sweat starts to drip, you're going to be like, oh God, this is really intense.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of on that topic, would you guys ever make because you talked about the thermal surge, and you've also had hybrid in the past. Would you ever make a stimulant free or a caffeine free version of one of your specimen products?
I wanted to, but I think, I don't know if I would put Joey on the spot, but I think you might have joked about that. It's on my personal to-do list because I think there's a space for it. Like, I think there's a space for, a specimen with everything but the stems, and then what you can use for that space. Like, you can probably get creative about it, but like, I would personally use that.
Ask the question, like, what is a stim and what is a non-stim pre-workout? And because to me, like, specimen is a very like succinct stab at a efficient stimulant pre-workout. So if you remove everything that everyone collectively would consider a stimulant, you're not left with a lot, and it almost seems easier to start with a blank slate.
I'd have to agree. Like, I would want to design that pre-workout in a very, very different way than we've done all the other pre-workouts so far. And I definitely think there's a space for the non-stimulant pre, because there's a lot of people that, I'm pretty old. Most of us are decently old. Some of these younger people who can, handle 400, 500, 600 milligrams of caffeine pre-workout, that's great. But I think that there is a growing demographic for those people who do want the non-stim pre's that want to have closer to like Nutribio's intra, where they've got the choline and all the other fun stuff in it, where there's a little bit of a nootropic edge, but there's the performance benefits too. I'm not sure how we would approach that, but I think that there's definitely ways to do that.
I mean, we kind of did it with hybrid.
Yeah, I'd really like to see like a performance enhancer. They're like, because when you ask what pre-workout is, there's obviously the energy portion, there's the pump portion, and there's probably a focus portion. But when it gets down to like ergogenic aids, like your betaines, your beta alanines, and all that sort of thing, Michael and I have had some private conversations about an idea in that realm. But I want to see like what really boosts performance.
We could like Easter egg some of that.
If you want to.
Yeah, Joey gave me, not to get too far out, but
Michael Buffer.
Mike, he gave me a punny product, an R&D product called Michael Buffer. It's part of
ammonia.
Mike would love this. Like, this is gonna be Mike's thing.
Well, people like really haven't addressed the ammonia acidity issue in a way that it really could be done justice to.
There's an attempt to serve it about
that Alaska freeze.
It's Alaska freeze. You're back now. Tell the story as far as like the Michael Buffer thing and what it, not necessarily like what it is, but the design and like how your application is and what you've been doing with the last couple weeks.
Yeah, so I've been like skiing really long aggressive runs that are
deadly,
anywhere from like 2,500 feet long nonstop. So imagine going to like a ski resort and skiing from the top to the bottom. I did this last year, and after like the first day of doing it for, let's say, like 6 or 7 hours straight, my legs were so full of lactic acid. Like I had never felt soreness like that. And that was like day one. So you go into like day 2, day 3, and it's like, the closest thing I can think of to compare it to is like running back-to-back marathons.
Alaska Freeze.
The freeze, man. Feel bad.
Look at him.
It's a longer one. Oh,
He's really frozen this time.
You know,
Okay,
like
so
you wouldn't
Joey-
do that.
Oh,
I can hear you guys.
Michael, Alaska Freeze, bring us back to, it feels like I just ran 3 marathons.
Yeah, it's so weird. I can hear y'all the whole time. Yeah. Anyway, so we've been working on a concept to use this specific ingredient that I won't mention, but sort of rethinking the way that people are serving up like solutions to this problem in sports supplements right now. I think we've kind of come up with like a really compelling way to make this a daily product. I've been loading it for a couple weeks now, and like I can say anecdotally that like there's a massive difference. I'm not that much like my fitness level is not that much higher than it was doing the same thing. I'm a year older, and like the following day waking up, like my legs are not swollen and like in pain in the same regard. We'll probably send you guys one of these in the next week because there's like a few questions that I think we can get you to answer about like how you might use this and at what time of day and how it affects some things. But yeah, I mean, on the topic of like not needing caffeine for performance or like other alternative solutions, like this, in my opinion, this concept is way more compelling than a pre-workout as a performance enhancer, because it's a 365 day a year, like creatine style performance I'm trying to get. And you don't really need, I mean, I appreciate that people want like to be compelled to go into the gym and like feel a certain type of way. This isn't necessarily going to do that, but it achieves a lot of the results that I think people think are inside the tub when they buy a pre-workout.
yeah. Joey has mentioned that no one's really attacking this acid thing. So, I mean, generally, it's going to be L-ornithine is one of those ingredients. I'm assuming that, that has been used. So I'm assuming Joey's got something else there. So,
Well, I've got a handful of different things. But it has to deal with, okay, so you're working out really hard and you're producing a bunch of hydrogen ions, and that's happening through ammonia and it's happening through lactic acid. How do you buffer against all of this stuff? Or in a best case scenario, how do we recoup some of that ammonia for our own nitrogen retention and trying to build more muscle with it? And so such a product like this would be really good for your kidneys. Didn't think of it that way, but it's good. It would end up being good for your kidneys because that's where your body's going to kind of reclaim all that ammonia.
okay, cool. Well, yeah, looking forward to that. Fertilizer
So I
prices are
think
going up, so I don't want to be peeing it out when I can keep it myself.
There you go.
I think it's kind of like I think it's kind of probably more so an innovation in the sense that like C-TOX is a perspective innovation. C-TOX is much more low hanging, if I can even say that, like about the perspective innovation, but like this is definitely in the realm of like just challenging the consumer to see another modular piece that may have just been part of a kitchen sink in the past, or incomplete. There's also some new bells and whistles that you probably haven't seen before in there, but I don't know, Joey, if you got that made up this week, but we need to send that out to these guys so we can get some of the feedback that we were talking about. There's one particular question we need to answer.
Which one?
The variable about like timing, daily dosing, and how that may affect people's. I mean, I want people to like be able to take it at specific instances during the day and have a good experience.
So yeah, one of these ingredients is beta alanine, and beta alanine is really good because the carnosine that is made from that and histidine is really good at buffering against lactic acid. But the thing about that is the literature has 6.4 grams as the minimum level or point of entry. If you really want to get saturated, you've got to do 6.4 grams for probably 2 to 4 weeks before you've got a sufficient amount of carnosine in your actual muscles. The other thing is that there's an argument against this because it would result in a 6% increase in performance. Well, if you're a really well-trained, like world-class athlete, one of the comparisons that I've been given is it takes a runner in a track meet from last place to a bronze medal. And that's, that 6% difference can actually mean quite a lot. So there's that. And, the other thing is, like, if you actually had like sufficient endurance with really good buffering capacity and low ammonia levels, this could be a double-edged sword. You could work out for so long that the trauma that you're actually inducing to your actual muscle tissue starts to backfire on you. So your body's natural response to all these micro traumas through working out is to create this inflammation to tell you, hey, whatever the heck you're doing, you need to stop before you induce too much damage. Well, if you're buffering against a lot of that acid and everything, you could push it so hard that you could hurt yourself. I'm sure Michael's probably going to be flirting with that boundary line here in the next couple of days. But, you still feel the micro trauma. You just don't feel the DOMs as badly, and you're able to, kind of clear through it a little bit more quickly than you normally would. Maybe your recovery window on a given muscle group is like 3 or 4 days, and it could shorten it down to like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think one question, and then let's try to get back into a little bit more about C-TOX. Question for you guys, Mike and Ben. How many people do you think in the supplement user community are truly saturated with beta alanine, like percentage wise?
I think that a large percentage of them use beta alanine at an efficacious dose rather frequently, but this is my biggest problem with pre-workout talking is, like, you take it 4 or 5 times a week. Everyone wants a 30 serving bottle, but most of these guys are not training 7 days a week, so they're not getting in that full dosage. So, I mean, I think that it's as close to saturated as we possibly can get without pushing people to take stuff daily.
Would it be
I would say
more
1/3. Just to answer your question, I got to get going pretty soon, guys. But no, in general, so there's a lot of pre-workouts that are popular that do not have 3.2 grams as it is, and they're probably not getting more. Honestly, I don't even know what the latest and greatest formula of C4 is, for instance. But if we scrolled through some of the Amazon pre-workouts that are popular there, we're probably not going to be getting 3.2 grams a day. And then, like Ben said, we're not taking it daily. So I don't know. And then people are bigger nowadays too. I don't think, I honestly, I would say about 1/3, but I have no clue. That's just right out of my butt.
Yeah, I would like to take somebody like Ben and get him something that ensures that there's no question that he's super saturated in not just beta alanine, but this kind of whole matrix of things that work in this way, and see if there's an anecdotal or performance enhancement that he can log. Because my experience with this so far is that I definitely can. Putting it in a pre-workout though, to kind of dovetail back into C-TOX is yeah, I mean, you're going to ask people to take your 400, 300 milligram pre-workout every single day, even if they're not going to the gym and want to be compelled to work out and so on. I don't know if you have another giveaway, Joey, but I was going to propose that maybe we can drop up a little bit more box community, and then we can do kind of like a mini login conversation into the launch, so I don't know if there's a particular number, if you had another giveaway plan, but maybe that would be kind of cool, is we can toss them out there and get a conversation going in Discord, get some feedback from people, get some information.
I want the endurance athletes though. These strength guys, I'm sorry to, cramp your style, but that whoever actually runs or swims, etc. Microberto, I'm looking at you for beta testing. But I want you to push it. when you push it. Either you push it in intensity or you push it in duration. I want you to push it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Bring it on.
so yeah, we've actually had like 3 more giveaways. We want to do it. The
Yeah,
next
gentlemen,
giveaway-
I do need to get off. I am sorry, but I thank you very much for your time. Ben, can you close this out and everything later on? But
Yeah, I'll
got
keep
more-
it running. Mike,
Okay, that was fun.
hang.
So I will watch the end later on. Thanks, guys, for your time, and we will talk soon.
Yeah, fun, Mike.
And it.
Thanks.
Cool. All right. Yeah. I want to run one more giveaway, and then I think we have 3 more actually.
Let's do the 2 bottles of Anomaly.
Ooh. The relevant thing also, because I think that Flight and Anomaly probably play into this conversation a lot more. This endurance, this the second product a lot.
So for Anomaly, maybe we make this one easy.
I think that's probably a good idea.
First person to tell me what bean the Pepsi Strong comes from, you got 2 bottles of Anomaly.
Isn't it? Yeah. It is.
Oh, they'll come in. They'll come in pretty quick. Someone's gonna say it. Oh, we
By
got
the way,
it. No, yeah,
Yep, Dylan Wheeler.
Boom. Dylan Wheeler, you are the winner.
Couple endurance athletes in the chat as well, more than I would expect normally.
Good. This is Cam. Join the Discord if you want to get this thing. Oh, Adam Madison says garbage bean. That's cool.
I think we should give away some more C-TOX before the end, and then just kind of offer people the opportunity to give feedback while they're doing it in the
Okay.
Discord.
Yeah.
So let's do 10. Let's give 10 away.
Oh wow. 10 in whose Discord? The PricePlow Discord?
I mean, we can do it in both, and we can sort of, yeah. I mean, the PricePlow Discord is probably fine.
I am
Let's do
blown
that.
away at how many people are in chatting it up on both platforms.
It's going really well. I'm very impressed with the.
All right, well then let's do it. Like the only thing that we ask in return is that you log it and let like the community know how it's going. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see like the reaction like post C-TOX, and how people are like kind of re-immersing into caffeine. And then kind of hear some feedback on the beginning. But
What should we have them do?
All right, I got an idea.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like the first one to type, and everyone's gonna be sitting there like, what do I type, right? We're picking 10 subjects, right? They have to number themselves off. So whoever types in 1 first is 1. Whoever types in 2 first is 2. Whoever types in 3 first is 3, and so on and so forth until we get to 10.
okay,
Oh my
but you
God.
can't type the number until the number that comes before it is on the screen. So you can't just like put in 10 right away.
Okay, yeah. It has to be in chronological order,
Okay.
Yeah.
sequence. We already got a 1.
Oh my God, it's already going off in the PricePlow Discord.
We got a 2. We got a 3. We got a 4.
Oh, it doesn't have to be in
We
chronological
got
order.
a 5.
It does.
Oh,
Yes, it does.
okay. So in our Discord, you got to hit 2 next. We've already
hit
got
a
1,
6.
but we didn't get a 2.
We hit a 7. Wait, that guy already did he already get 1? I don't know. All right, so we're 8. They're actually experiencing our time delay in real time. We got a 9. And Nico, you can't be 9 and 10. All right, so Mateo, he's gonna be number 10. Or did that or was this amongst both? Holy shit. It went in both.
Let's just do both and make sure that we send them all out tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, as long as we don't have duplicates. So 10 and 10.
Yeah, no duplicates, please. No double dip.
2.
We just made Ben's life difficult here for a
I
second.
gotta go. Oh my God, I gotta go read all these numbers.
I'll actually make a list of the YouTubers. You can make a list of the PricePlow or the Discord.
Yeah, if you believe it, go ahead and screenshot it right now so that you can get in touch with us.
Cool.
And I think a decent way to wrap this up would maybe to take some Q&A.
Yes, Q&A. So I have a couple questions from our Instagram. I'm honestly gonna let those comments run, and whoever we'll figure it out later. But I have a decent amount of Q&A questions to kind of hit up here. The stimulant-free question, by the way, came from the Q&A earlier. I thought that was a really good one. I was kind of excited about that. But here's a really good one to start with. Glaxon in 5 years. Thoughts, goals, and plans. World domination.
And not the way that you would think. I don't know, Michael, you can share your view and I'll do a little bit too. And you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, I know that's tough. That's really tough.
5-year plan.
It's so hard because like 2019, it was like just launching. In 2022, you're already launching in GNC. Like it's, what is in 5?
Yeah. You know, I don't know. I'm trying to think about how to put this out there without sounding like an asshole. You know,
Yeah.
You know, I hope that, I mean, I hope we can continue to grow at the same rate. I hope that we have the opportunity to reach larger distribution, and continue to challenge the customer. I think we touched on a bunch of this kind of more modular approach that is innovative in the sense that like you're kind of teaching people with the products like how to achieve goals that aren't, you know, kitchen sink, hey, this does everything. You know, you got to mix and match, and then you can kind of find. So I expect that, like, or I hope that 5 years from now we'll have done that in more of an RTD fashion, maybe more of a functional fashion. You know, I hope that we'll be way down the road on running our own clinical trials and studies. We have some really ambitious stuff that Joey will probably touch on about some delivery technologies that aren't presently viable, but they will be in the next year or so. We've had some really cool conversations about how we can incorporate tech, like wearable tech and apps to track and monitor health in conjunction with different modular stacks that people are running.
Something like a CGM, like some sort of way to integrate that.
Yeah, I mean, like a MyFitnessPal X Glaxon, where like it knows all the products that you're taking, it knows what your goals are, you're logging certain things, it's logging certain things from your watch, your scale, and so forth. Cool. You know, that I think it will be emerging 5 years from now. That might be a little bit more normal and easier for us to access.
There's been a lot of that growing, like with like the Whoop band with the Aura ring, stuff like that. Do you guys presently use any kind of wearable tech for yourselves? Yeah, I know you guys are big on the Apple Watch.
It's just so darn easy, even if it's not like 100% accurate.
I use the watch. I have the Bluetooth scale. I haven't worn the Dexcom in a while. It just wasn't. You know, I mean, it's cool, but like after a certain point, it's like it kind of sucks to have this like thing, like this pin, like stuck inside your skin, taped to your body for weeks. I would recommend it though, because I learned a lot about how my body reacts to carbs and sugar. Really interesting, and like how working out affected my blood sugar levels, how taking like cold showers or hot showers affected my blood sugar levels, how sleeping did, you know, how getting like really how anxious and like feeling overworked like affected my blood sugar, like just like things that are, it's nice to have some concrete data behind. I don't know, Joey, if you want to give a shot at the 5-year plan, or if you guys want to move on to the next.
I'm all about the quantified self, which is a concept where, you know, you're basically keeping tabs on a lot of different things. If we could do a combination of IoT, which is the wearables and all that kind of stuff, your smart devices, and I like the potential of combining individual IoT with like training IoT kind of things, because there's stuff like Perch and a whole bunch of other things that like watch your form for you as you're lifting and all kinds of other neat stuff like that, to where we could use that plus the training tech with some of like the home blood tests and 23andMe type of stuff. So, what good is having a longevity product if you can't quantify it?
Right.
Would it be kind of nice to have like a Glaxon edition, saliva tube that we can end up, having shipped to your house? You spit in a tube and we tell you, how long your telomeres are, and you take our products for 6 months and then you check it again. I mean, it would be right there, individualized, n equals 1. If you get your proof, there it is right there. So I like that idea as far as like bringing around more of a holistic kind of view to the whole thing. The other part is, all kinds of research. Delivery systems probably being the one thing that Michael and I agree that we both want to really innovate on as far as like moving forward in the future and how we can push that envelope. The clinical studies would be great. The clinical studies are going to be required for some of those delivery system kind of things, as you know. And then to maybe work with more athletes and institutions, probably, and not just like pro athletes or college athletes or anything like that, but like people that are like actively in the military, as we're going to be in some of the GNC base stores and everything, to have some sort of an interesting presence, there where people could have options to actually monitor, the results and the efficacy of their nutritional regimen, pretty much in real time.
Awesome. I got into the Whoop band for a little bit with their heart rate variability, which I found kind of fascinating because they weight your heart rate variability versus your sleep quality to try to quantify your strain and your recovery. It was really interesting. It did not convert into strength training. I thought it was a lot more relevant for like cardiovascular endurance trainers. But I would love more of an approach of quantified information to give you an idea of what you're doing, because right now so often we're just shooting blind. Like, you have to guess your calories and your macronutrients, but your activity changes on a day-to-day basis. So like your fatigue changes depending on your diet, your sleep, your stress levels. There's so much that changes day to day that it's really hard to honestly follow anything other than shooting blind.
I would like the ability to, take my phone with like MyFitnessPal, scan this barcode on a Glaxon product, and have it, just keep this running total of the random chemicals that are in my body.
It's a great point.
We all, you fantasize about the autobiographical movie of Ben Kane. He gets up and he takes a piss, and you see like all the sodium and ammonia numbers and all this stuff just start falling and falling and falling. And then he starts slamming like, a Ghost energy drink, and all of a sudden the caffeine numbers and B vitamins and stuff start going up, where you could look at all of this stuff like it's a stock ticker of what's going on inside your body. I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
That's
fascinating. And just have it in on your phone, just to be like, holy shit, I've consumed 985 milligrams of caffeine and I haven't even worked out yet.
Yeah, total B vitamin count, total choline count.
That's so cool. Being able to, I mean, I'm on like a tangent here, but like I feel like being able to quantify the nutrients that leave yourself through your stool and your urine is probably actually pretty helpful.
And a lot of it can probably be calculated through your metabolic rate and a whole bunch of other different metrics. But we've hardly even begun on what we can actually quantify as far as like the biometrics end of it. And it can get scary, but at the same time, it can also be pretty cool. It's one of those things where you could use it for bad purposes or good purposes.
Fair. Man, I completely. Oh, we're doing Q&A. I completely lost my. We got on some really good tangents with you guys.
Another good way.
Yeah, rip it. Let's do another one.
This is going to be for 1 bottle of Protos Whey chocolate milk. And the first person to say what the acronym MFGM stands for, if you're a fan of Protos Whey, if you can figure out what MFGM is and give me an answer, the first one to give me the written out answer of what MFGM stands for will get a bottle of Protos Whey.
Glad I feel better about this question, because that other one I did not know about the purine.
It's a chemical name.
All right, so while that's happening, people want to know about a reveal for Specimen Max formula or a release date. Can you give me some information on that?
We have a sort of to placate, our base customers and you know, all the fan community and so on, we'll be dropping one flavor at the end of the month. It's the Legacy Alien Pop flavor. So you'll have to wait to get the new ones until next month, but you can keep an eye out for that. I don't think we've mentioned that anywhere else, so you know, feel free to circulate that message. But yeah, at the end of this month, we'll be dropping Max on Glaxon.com in the Alien Pop Legacy flavor.
Awesome. Cool. And formula will reveal with that, or well, I guess some people have already.
Yeah, we'll have to. I don't think we can sell it without that. So I got to check with some of the team here to confirm like what their agenda is for the formula reveal. We've got a really badass comic that that Brandon, the animator that's down in Houston with us, did. It's kind of the story. I think there's been a little bit of that teased this week, like maybe little segments of it. But keep an eye out for that because that's really cool. And if you guys like it, let us know, and we'll do more of that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, I would expect like Ben, you'll probably have your hands on a formula reveal really soon.
Awesome.
I just can't confirm it at this moment.
I will keep the supplement facts panel off of our story until then. Although I will say this is actually
definitely probably out there. But,
it absolutely is. I do have to say that I actually had no idea what it was until recently. No one told me anything about it after the last version, which made it really fun to be trying it. I actually prefer to try pre-workouts without the supplement facts panels now. I think it's a really fun part of it. And there's some stuff in here that makes a lot of sense with how I was feeling, and it's very exciting. I'm super excited for you guys to launch this because I think a lot of people are going to like it. Goon Mode Red. When is it coming back in stock?
It's back in, well,
How?
it'll be back on the website probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Let me,
Because it just got made recently.
yeah, it's back in, like we have finished product in hand, so.
Brandon Shannon says that he wants a Ben Kane mango flavor, so if you want to put one of those in
Oh,
mix.
well, stay tuned for Cinco
What's your
de
middle name,
Mango.
Ben?
Michael.
Oh, how about
Great
that?
name.
Yeah, there's some. I'm surprised that you haven't asked me that. Or I'm surprised we haven't shared that with our whole horoscope thing. It's
Well,
pretty
I
fun.
was actually interested to see if there was a funny play on alliteration or something with mango.
Oh, the Ben Michael mango.
Ben Michael Caine mango.
I love it. I'm all about
Oh
it.
wait, you like Michael Caine, huh?
Okay, so Specimen Max. Can we? Someone asked if there's going to be a new Specimen worldwide, but what I kind of wanted to talk about was the spectrum of your pre-workouts, because you have as low as your hybrid, which I know is probably going away soon, but you got your Plasma Surge, which is stim-free, your Thermal, which is somewhere in the middle, then you have Goon Mode up to actual pre-workouts all the way up to Max and GFY. Where are they going to live going forward? What is going to stand the test of time?
I would say that just the regular Specimen, the daily driver, is going to stick around. It's probably my personal favorite because it's the most convenient for me to reach for. And I think that like in a larger market, that's probably the case. Our hope is that Specimen Max like sort of makes a distinct, like they're distinctly different. They feel very different. In an ideal world, people have both and they use them on occasions that make sense for that. GFY V3 is coming really soon, maybe before Max. And that's going to function as like just sort of like the what it's always been, kind of like the most compliant attempt at like dethroning the most gray area demographic or gray area pre-workout seeking demographic. It will continue to be a retail exclusive, and it's getting new flavors. But we did that one post like not so long ago where it kind of broke down the differences and all the specimens. There's a core, like a nucleus that's the same across all of them, and then the intensity just changes a little bit. You know, so max or GFY, like, you know, you can kind of pick your flavor. But the regular specimen in comparison to max or GFY, like you know, you got a daily driver, and then you've got like I forget the analogies that we used on that day, but we'll have to put that back up again because I think that actually did pretty well. I think there's a lane for all of them.
And you're muted. You're talking, but you're muted.
Sorry about that. I'm back. There was a question earlier I tagged Joey in when I was kind of teasing what we'd be doing tonight. In depth on C-TOX long term. How many times can we use it? Is it going to work less over time? Would you recommend a certain amount of times per year or something like that?
It's a tool. So, you know, this is like asking, like, you know, if I buy a shovel once, am I going to need it, you know, 3 or 4 times a year? It really depends on you and what you want to do. I would use it as a tool to make less caffeine do more for me than a higher dose of caffeine doing less. So in that kind of sense, it's an as needed kind of thing. I would probably say at most, probably seasonally, 4 times a year kind of thing. But you know, if your goal is to not need that much caffeine, then you know you could use it once and that's all you're going to need it for. And it's similar in the sense of tranquility is a tool to set your sleep schedule or your sleep wake cycle and to try to resynchronize that back. You know, you can use it every day, but it's really something that's really just supposed to right the ship, and that if you ever do need it again in the future, you've got it. Same kind of approach with C-TOX, where it's a tool to help you get off of caffeine. Sure, you can take it however you want to, except for, you know, don't exceed the dosage that we recommend. You know, and if you want to maybe like once a month, you know, do your C-TOX, maybe it's like the 4th week of the month or whatever, just so it feels like the first time come, you know, your next month, you know, that's entirely up to you.
Cool. Doing it once a month seems a little bit excessive to me. You know, a question I wanted to ask you earlier, Ben, is like, did the red pill side of the C-TOX, like, did it feel good? Like, was it like a good feel good experience, like with caffeine?
My first day, I didn't really feel all that different than I did regularly. You know, I mean, it's what? How much caffeine is in that many pills? 300?
300.
Yeah, 300. Plus you get a good 300 of teacrine as well. I mean, I felt good. There's a little bit of tyrosine in there, right? 1,200 milligrams of choline is always going to help out. The red pills felt great. Honestly, I would say I think every month is probably excessive as well. But the caveat to that is if you did do it every month, it wouldn't feel all that bad, right? Like you'd feel a lot better if you did it monthly because you would never get too hung up on caffeine in the first place.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, if the red portion of it feels like if you never really get so far away from baseline, then the red, like, that week might just like kind of feel nice anyway.
Dude, I mean,
I don't know if you really need to do that. Like, I don't know. There's probably not many people that have that kind of, you know, patience and will to put themselves in that situation. But, I can understand it from that perspective. If you enjoy the process, like, because your baseline.
If you do that stim-free specimen, you could do a sample of 7 servings of it with each C-TOX box. So during that week, you can train with a stim-free specimen while you're detoxing from caffeine.
It's a lovely idea.
That's a really good idea.
Because that was my biggest problem was like, I mean, I have enough pre-workouts that are stim-free because of PricePlow, but like I don't think a lot of people keep one in the cupboard just in case.
It would be, yeah, in case of emergency.
We did put in effort to make sure that it was like modular with our stim-free products.
Yeah.
Like there's like some thought to using it in conjunction with like Serenity or Tranquility, obviously, maybe Neuro 365. but that would be really cool. I wish we had, I mean, we're not there yet. And I'm just like, now I'm like half thinking about like how we can put that thing together, because there's like the expectations in the pre-workout category are like sort of crazy. Like they're not like logical, they're experiential. Like people are just chasing experience. They're not really chasing performance. So when you take the experience of stimulants out, what are you really trying to deliver someone?
For sure. All right, man, let's do one last giveaway and then we'll finish out the Q&A. I think that's probably
last giveaway that we're going to be doing is an apparel packet featuring 2 t-shirts, the Saga that Ben is wearing right now.
This fits so amazing, by the way. I don't know if this is a different shirt than you guys normally use to print on, but I was really impressed with this one.
And then we've got the Peace on Earth tee that I think Blair was teasing that one in the Glaxon Discord, and one hoodie. So 2 shirts, 1 hoodie. You got to tell us your size. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Is this the hoodie that Michael's wearing?
I mean, it could be that hoodie. We've got like 4 different hoodies in stock, maybe 5.
The heavyweight hoodie with the Glaxon on it, the mini Glaxon, is I love that sweatshirt, and my videographer bought 2 of them just because he loves it so much. So funny.
Those are nice. Those are
really
super nice ones. Yeah.
Super premium. All right. While those comments come in, Arthur, there you go. Any news on Vanity? Vanity kind of got leaked a little bit on stories a little bit ago, and I think we've also talked about it a couple times on some podcasts.
We have all the components for that product in hand. And we talked about it a little bit in our new product development meeting today. I would expect to see that at like the earliest, maybe the end of this quarter.
Okay.
Or early next quarter. But we're literally sitting on all the materials that go in it. I don't know if, I guess if they're looking out for Vanity, it's just going to be a little bit longer. But cool. The fact that we have all materials on hand is unique, because that's not normally we're like making labels and then waiting.
Yeah.
This was the other way around.
Someone asked this question. I don't know how he really meant it, but I do think it is kind of a funny. The takeaway from it is kind of funny. With C-TOX and Caffeine Experiment, are you trying to get people to use less caffeine? Would you say that your goal with Glaxon is to influence people to use less caffeine overall?
I mean, as the company that has GFY of 420 milligrams, a specimen max of 400 milligrams, no, but we want people to have options,
Mm-hmm.
We don't want people to, be stuck doing that, every day for the rest of their life. And if you do want, an exit ramp off of the caffeine highway, that we would be able to offer that as well.
Yeah, I think the original intention behind C-TOX, like 3 years ago, the concept was literally born to placate like someone telling me that like a 500 milligram caffeine pre-workout like sample didn't do anything.
Right.
Because like, what am I gonna do for that guy? What am I gonna do for that person? What we've learned in the journey from there to here is that there's a lot more compelling reasons, and for a really large demographic. Like, we sent all these samples out, and like, the super user community can't tell the difference between 300 milligrams of caffeine and nothing. That seems like it warrants some sort of baseline reset to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because these are the kind of people that like would probably like, they'd take offense to that. These are people who use a lot of supplements. Like they probably have some sort of pride in being able to like anecdotally tell the difference between one pre-workout to another, or results from a product and their routines. Like they're, these aren't like just regular users.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, for me personally, if someone gave me like a 0 milligram caffeine test, and like I couldn't tell the difference between 300 and 0, like I'd be like, okay, well that's not in line with how I'm trying to use supplements. Like,
right.
I should know. so I need to reset it. Sort of answer that question. Our goal is like ultimately just to provide a solution so that people can use our supplement products with caffeine better, or anyone's.
I wish that you guys had asked preliminary questions with these experiment subjects, like how much caffeine they use frequently, because that way I think you'd be able to draw conclusions between their inability to identify the placebo with their high consumption of caffeine.
Actually,
that's why we were at work late, because
Oh, see, that would be, I would really like to know that.
It's in the spreadsheet. It's in the spread. Well, not in that spreadsheet. We have a different spreadsheet that had like some intro questions. There's more data that was part of this experiment that we haven't even looked at, where we've got people's height, body weight. They've got, what their normal caffeine usage is like. And some of it was kind of alarming, not gonna lie, where you see that people taking 500-600 milligrams a day is kind of normal. And I don't think that behavior necessarily is normal. This is certainly a nuanced behavior of the human species that we've witnessed here, probably, I would say, here in the 21st century. It wasn't near as bad in the late 90s, but now we've got a super caffeinated entire population of human beings that have no intention of stopping.
I think also something to bring up too, and I should keep saying here, because I'm gonna have some comments saying like I don't want any inconsistencies. I believe people should be able to take that much, but I think people should know that they're taking that much. And if you're drinking, a couple cold brews from Starbucks a day as well, like that adds up a lot. And I don't have a problem with high dose caffeine. I've taken well over a gram at a time, but you need to understand what you're doing with your body. Even if I've done that, I don't do it every single day. And I'm more concerned about the daily usage really than anything else.
I'm more concerned about like the cardiovascular effects long term. I think when you're making a heartbeat at a pretty good clip all day, every day, this engine is only rated for so many miles.
For sure.
And when you're running through caffeine at that fast rate like that, you're just putting more wear and tear on that engine that can only go so far.
Like brake pads.
And I think that we'll probably see a little bit of an increase in cardiovascular stuff that would probably be related to that.
I could see that. We're getting a little off topic here, but it's not off topic for Joey because he's talked about it publicly a decent amount recently, and I think it's relevant. Is it worth trying out turkesterone?
Not yet.
The fact that he used the word worth trying is what makes me want to say yes, because like I think people should try whatever they want if it's safe. But
well, yeah,
I don't really know.
It's so safe it won't even get in your body.
I love it.
You gotta have a very compelling delivery system with something like turkesterone, or it's not going to be worth the time. Well, and what's also been really interesting on the turkesterone is that these standardizations for turkesterone in the market have gone way down. Like you had a handful of people with 50% plus standardizations. Now you're lucky to find 10 if you can find 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of glad I stayed out of that fray.
Last question here, which might be a little bit more for Michael. Any chance Glaxon will be hitting Canada soon?
Yeah, you can thank COVID for that long process, but we just got some approvals actually in the last month. So approvals that took almost 2 years. So yes, you will see Glaxon officially in Canada this year.
I don't think a lot of people understand or appreciate how hard it is to get into Canada.
Yeah,
the right way too, especially.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to send like small quantities to smaller retail in Canada, which that's fine. But no, we're in a position to have a bigger distribution presence in Canada. We've got Health Canada approvals. We put in a lot of time to not make major concessions to some of the emphasis on formulation that's important to our branding. And then we've just been waiting, I'd say, for the last year and a half. But Canada has had a lot of difficulty, open and close kind of thing with COVID. So We just needed a lot. We needed official approvals to legally sell dietary supplements there, and we have some in hand now.
Cool. Awesome. Well, last one before we go. David Lamb asks, any chance of Xylaria in Tranquility V3? But I really want to know, when did we know there was Tranquility V3 coming?
How about we can give another Easter egg? There's, in my opinion, there's things that we've learned and we continue to learn along the way. Major upgrades from V1s to V2s and some V3s that we're on, where we like really believe that we've got like an awesome tasting product that looks good and performs and checks all the boxes and still challenges the customer to like find out what's really more valuable. Tranquility is kind of doing a really good job of that. Like I don't look at that product and think that it's missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tangential product that we've got in the stress realm, and I think we've found a really cool little upgrade that you guys will see this year.
Cool.
On that.
Awesome. Well, I think we've covered a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of clips to take out of this and to post. So I want to say thank you guys so much for your time. This has been fun. For everyone who is still watching, which we've held on to viewers this whole time, which I'm really impressed by. We're going to be doing this monthly, so look forward to the next one. Is can we say the next one's gonna be Specimen Max? I already said it, so it's out there. I can't take it back.
Yeah, it'll be Specimen Max and the tangents that we go on, and hopefully, if you're watching, like this is gonna be your best chance at like getting insider information. Joey and I don't have the time or the platform to really jump on and like have these kind of conversations and take Q&As from everybody. So we're setting aside monthly time to do this with PricePlow for indefinitely. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I think that's important to note. But next we'll have Specimen Max. I think we'll maybe have some more compelling things to talk about with the product. There's some things that are going to drop in between then and now that we can probably talk about a little bit too then. One last thing that I did want to say, sounds like we're sending out about 20 of the C-TOX. I really, really would encourage people to get into the Discord and log how you're feeling, what your experience is like. If you guys do a good job of that, like we can definitely reward you for such. But I'm interested in it personally, and I think there's a lot of people out there that may be on the fence about the concept that could really benefit from it.
Absolutely. The coolest thing about these Discords, both obviously I'm in PricePlow's. I'm in Glaxon's Discord. I need to get into the Supplement Lab one because there's Joey. You need to put the link in your bio. You're losing lots of possible people in there. I would love to get in there because it seems like there's going to be a lot of fun logging in there. The opportunity for all this stuff is so cool with these chat rooms, and so I'm looking forward to seeing the logging in there. I've seen a lot of our viewers are very interested in sharing their experiences, if not for anything other than showing off that they get to try things early, which I can totally appreciate. So I really appreciate you guys dropping in. Is there anything you guys want to end this on?
Stay tuned for more. We're dropping something tomorrow, so pay attention on that one. You'll see that we have a new product launching tomorrow. Check it out.
Ben, hopefully you got it in your care package, but maybe you didn't.
I've got two products. Did I show it to you earlier, Joey, when I asked you about it?
You can show it.
You haven't shown all of our fine folks at home. No, not that one.
No, not that one.
The dragon fruit?
That one.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
There we go.
Well,
yeah, you can tease it. It's dropping in like 12 hours or something.
Cool. I wish I brought a shaker bottle in for this. I'd try one right now.
Good.
Dragon fruit, super exciting. Well, dragon fruit tomorrow at what time?
I don't know.
Cool.
I should, but I don't.
Awesome.
Sometime tomorrow.
Awesome. Well,
Stay tuned.
well, thank you guys for your time.